There exists an extraordinary Victorian fantasy painting which has fascinated thousands upon thousands of admirers over decades. This painting was even the subject of a famous British rock band song. Its artist's story has attracted an equal amount of widespread attention and fame. Let us introduce the tragic Victorian painter Richard Dadd in his priceless fantasy artwork titled The Fairy Feller's Masterstroke. Richard Dadd, the mad Victorian fantasy fairy artist. Richard Dadd, the mad, famous Victorian painter, was born on August 1, 1817 in England at Chatham, Kent. He possessed a talent for painting and illustration from the time of his youth. At 20 years of age, this burgeoning artist attended the prestigious Royal Academy of Arts, winning a number of awards for his creations. Even at this stage, one could see in his works an obsession with detail and lifelike portrayals. His favorite subjects included fairies, folklore, and Orientalist themes, which he created with exquisite attention. The unique style of his paintings at that time inspired some to refer to his work as fairy school, with their dreamlike characters and fantasy folklore. Nevertheless, Richard Dadd was still regarded at that time as a moderately talented artist. Though as Victorian society developed a renewed interest in folklore, fairy tales, and spirituality, his unique artistic style gained increasing attention. An expedition into madness. In July of 1842, as his artistic skills gained in reputation, Richard Dadd received a unique opportunity to travel and employ his talents as an illustrator. In return for paintings and drawings documenting the expedition of wealthy Welsh lawyer Sir Thomas Phillips, he would become a patron of Richard Dadd. Their travels would take them through Europe to Greece, Turkey, southern Syria, and then Egypt. After a demanding 2-week journey through southern Syria in November, the following month brought ill tidings for the young artist. In the latter part of December, a disturbing personality change took hold of him. Soon, Richard Dadd believed his mind was coming under the control of the Egyptian deity Osiris, in addition to increasing occurrences of unpredictable behavior and fits of violence. Initially thought to be the effects of sunstroke, he left Sir Thomas Phillips in the spring of 1843 and returned to the care of his family in England. Unfortunately, when the concerned family submitted Richard Dadd to the care of a physician specializing in mental health, he was deemed not to be of legally sound mind. Though instead of committing him to an asylum, Richard Dadd convinced his father that rest would improve his condition. In fact, his mental health worsened. Tragically, with his horrific turn into madness, Richard Dadd became convinced that his own father was the devil in disguise. Acting upon insane impulse, he attacked his father from behind during a countryside walk in Cobham Park, Kent on August 28, 1843. Using a sharp razor blade, he slashed his father's throat, then proceeded to stab him with a sailor's knife. After committing this shocking act of murder, Richard Dadd fled the country. He arrived in Calais, France, reportedly still wearing his bloody clothes. Investigators into the crime found sketchbooks of his family and friends, each member appearing with throats slashed. Meanwhile, even in another country, Richard Dadd did not stop acting upon murderous impulses. Riding inside a coach traveling to Paris, he produced a razor and tried to slash the throat of a fellow passenger, still believing the devil was attempting to capture him. The mad artist was apprehended during this crime by local authorities. Later, after extradition to England, he was judged to be criminally insane in July of 1844. Committed to the mental asylum at Bethlehem Royal Hospital on August 22, 1844, he did not lose his passion for painting. While institutionalized, he was encouraged to continue painting and created works during the balance of his stay. Various sources indicate it was while incarcerated with what is now thought to have been paranoid schizophrenia that Richard Dadd produced his best works. During the same period, his fame grew in London art circles. He created paintings from memories of travels, Shakespearean plays, Robin Hood characters, or even depicting those that cared for him at the asylum. Followers of Richard Dadd's artistic career feel the period starting in the mid-1850s showed his best artistic talents. A Victorian fantasy masterpiece, The Fairy Feller's Masterstroke. It was during his stay at Bethlehem Hospital that Richard Dadd returned to painting fairy fantasy themes, though with a more developed, intricate style. The crowning achievement of his unique technique was his remarkable work, The Fairy Feller's Masterstroke, created between 1855 to 1864. This fantasy masterwork was commissioned by an official at Bethlehem Hospital. Though even after 9 years of effort, Richard Dadd never completely finished his masterpiece. As one views this fascinating painting, they are given a unique glimpse into the internal madness dwelling within Richard Dadd. His intricate fantasy images are presented in a detailed, brooding portrayal, reflecting how his troubled mind seen the world around him. Everyday occurrences and important events are given equal treatment by a possessed vision, with even the tiniest feature shown from a flat yet cobbled two-dimensional perspective. One recognizes the artist's compulsive attempts to organize the happenings of his world past and present. This includes an intentional disbursement of abundant representations of nature like timothy grass, tendrils, and daisy flowers. This vegetation also dissects various scenes as if to contain their boundaries. Eerie eyes look out from discrete locations, revealing time and again Richard Dad's paranoia of being constantly watched and pursued. In addition, the viewer is also restricted by the artist, who uses vegetation to distance us from the unfolding scenes, only to become silent witnesses. Throughout the painting are curious, apprehensive onlookers within one shocking collage of hallucinations. We witness a potential act of violence, where two figures appear as if one is about to attack the other from behind, similar to the murder of Richard Dad's father. The nervous, gnome-like figure at the painting's center draws the attention of many viewers, with its peculiar expression and pensive eyes. Why does this satyr have such a frightened posture? By whom or what is it threatened? Or is its actions of a more dishonorable nature? Looking further, we notice a possible cause for the elf-like figure's apprehension. To the right of the satyr is the raised axe of the fairy feller, who is about to split a large chestnut for Queen Mab's new fairy carriage. Though the atmosphere is full of tension and anxious anticipation as onlookers wonder about the true intentions of the fairy feller. An evening setting, as evidenced by dark blue night sky in the top left area and somber hues throughout the canvas, reveals various faces of quiet fear. However, daisy flowers are portrayed as fully open at night, showing once again the artist's need for control, despite the laws of nature. Anthropomorphic creatures are also on display in this canvas. In the top right area, one can spot the tiny image of an apothecary with mortar and pestle, which is the artist's father. Perhaps this haunting small display shows the unfathomable emotions Richard Dad held in regards to murdering his father. When he stopped working on the fairy fella's masterstroke, Richard Dad wrote a detailed, lengthy poem titled Elimination of a Picture and its Subject, called The Fella's Masterstroke, naming many of these images with narratives for explanation. Remarkably, most of the imagery is from the artist's memory. During the year 1864, he was transferred to Broadmoor Hospital. In his latter years, Richard Dad would focus more on watercolor paintings and much less on oils. On January 7, 1886, he succumbed to an extensive disease of the lungs at Broadmoor Hospital. Richard Dad was 68 years of age. The fairy feller's masterstroke is now part of the Tate Britain collection in London. There is also a later watercolor version of this same painting which Richard Dad created in a more completed form. It is located at the Fitzwilliam Museum in Cambridge. This Victorian fantasy masterpiece contains hidden mysteries which cannot be solved by narratives in the poem Richard Dad later wrote. The Fairy Fella's Masterstroke is an enigmatic painting which delves deep into the creative mind of a murderous yet highly talented artistic madman. Thousands upon thousands are fascinated by this Victorian fantasy masterpiece to this very day. Even the rock band Queen released a song in 1974 which was titled after this Richard Dad creation. VictoriantoModern is reminded of the creative artistic genius Hieronymus Bosch whenever viewing this painting. Hieronymus Bosch is the subject of a captivating episode on our channel MedievaltoModern. Thank you for supporting us at VictoriantoModern. Please be sure to watch another episode shown at the end of this video. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click the notification button so we can create more exciting content. I wish you good tidings as we remember that sharing knowledge has been a noble deed throughout the ages.